But Caitlin Clark did officially put out a statement on Juju Watkins on her Twitter X feed, and it's a fantastic statement. But somehow, some way, people that can't stand Caitlin Clark are now turning this into something.
You can see why I had no problem with Caitlin Clark being named Times Athlete of the Year. You can see why I said she should have been on Team USA. You can see why I had to call out figures like Cheryl Swoops and others who were clearly distant and dismissive of Clark. No matter how much they try to deny it, there has been a palpable resentment toward her. Let me explain why I think it's foolish. The internet is ablaze once again, and Caitlin Clark is back in the spotlight.
First, last night during March Madness against Mississippi State, Juju Watkins suffered a horrific injury. Did a video on it this morning. Obviously, we're all pulling for her, all right, to get better. I haven't seen any Caitlin Clark fans talking negatively about Juju Watkins and that injury or wishing it on her or anything like that. I wish I could say the same for fans of the original WNBA fans when it comes to you-know-who, Caitlin Clark. And in fact, I think one of them made a live stream about Caitlin's knee or something like that.
This time, it's over a simple act of kindness that has turned into another unnecessary social media feud. It all started with Clark offering support for Juju Watkins, the USC phenom who sustained a serious injury during March Madness. What began as a straightforward gesture of solidarity for a wounded opponent has somehow descended into an ugly online dispute with people scrutinizing every word Clark said. Watkins, the USC star, went down with an injury during the game, and it was a tough moment for the Trojans. Clark, a fierce competitor on the court, used her platform on X, formerly Twitter, to send some heartfelt words to Watkins. She tweeted, "I'm sending all my thoughts and prayers to Juju Kid. She'll come back stronger than ever," alongside a heart emoji. In any normal world, that would be the end of the story. A simple act of kindness from one athlete to another. But in the world of social media, things quickly spiraled out of control. The backlash was immediate, vicious, and completely predictable. Some criticized Clark for calling Watkins "kid," claiming it was dismissive, disrespectful, or even racially charged. There were even claims that Clark's comment was an example of condescension or privilege.
I had no problem with her being Times Athlete of the Year. You see why I said that she should have been on Team USA? You see why I had to go off on the likes of Cheryl Swoops and others who were clearly distant and dismissive of her, no matter how much they try to deny it? There was resentment towards her, and here's why I said it was stupid.
This outrage, however, is more about Clark's public persona than anything she actually said. The criticism has less to do with the meaning behind her words, and more to do with how people perceive her. For a long time, Clark has been a lightning rod in women's sports. There's a distinct double standard at play here. Critics seem to forget that the term "kid" is universally used in sports by coaches, teammates, and legends alike.
Reason to try to bring this young lady down. I guess they're jealous. I don't know what it is. Well, yeah, I do. All right. For a lot of them, it's her skin color and her sexual preference. I hate to say that. That is part of this.
The same term is used by some of the biggest names in basketball, including LeBron James and Steph Curry. Yet when Clark used it, it became a firestorm. The real irony is that if Juju Watkins had tweeted the same thing, there wouldn't be a story. If any other player had offered support in the same way.
One thing I'm going to tell you about the old WNBA fans or the new WNBA fans that are activists that have joined for the culture war, because there's two separate factions. There's the old ones that, been around and just laboring and nothing was ever popping until Caitlin came along.
There would have been no issue, but because it's Caitlin Clark, the rules change. Suddenly, her every word is scrutinized and her actions are twisted into something they're not. It's worth noting that Watkins, who was the injured player in this situation, never commented on the issue. She hasn't expressed any offense, nor has she made any public statement about Clark's words. Yet the online community, particularly in spaces like WNBA Twitter, took it upon themselves to manufacture outrage on her behalf. For some, this isn't about defending Watkins. Instead, Instead, it's about using the situation as an opportunity to attack Clark.
This footage, just figure out what these girls are doing that's pissing you off so much when you ain't focused. Focus. She went back, refocused. That's why I love their whole.
There's Russell, 10 on the shot clock, been on the switch, tied it up, took it over the Trojans, and Watkins goes knee quickly, grimacing in pain.
Someone who has revolutionized women's basketball. In many ways, this situation represents the ongoing resentment some people have for Clark's success and her undeniable impact on the sport.
Playing basketball already. For the simple fact is she can pass.
A lot of players in the country playing Division I basketball. Nobody scored more points in one game this year than you. That's the most.
That's
this
crazy. Yeah. More to come for sure.
Yeah, Caitlin Clark who?
No, don't do that.
Okay,
Don't do that. Much respect there.
Clark has brought massive attention to women's basketball, breaking records and bringing in new fans. And for some, that seems to be a problem. When Caitlin Clark made her tweet, the intent was clear. She was expressing sympathy for a fellow athlete, offering encouragement in a tough time. But in the online world, kindness gets twisted into something ugly. The message wasn't an attempt to belittle Watkins, it was a genuine show of support. Yet the pushback came swiftly, with some claiming that Clark was trying to position herself as a wise veteran, even though she's only 22 years old. One critic even remarked, "Kid, you're only 3 years older than her. Check your ego." Another person of color said, "Being called kid by a white girl feels demeaning." There were others who accused Clark of being condescending, patronizing, and even racist, all over a word that's used frequently in sports by athletes of all backgrounds. It's a bizarre and unfortunate cycle. In the twisted world of the internet, Clark was held to a standard that would never be imposed on other players. If she had remained silent, she would have been criticized for not showing sportsmanship, but because she offered a kind message, she's attacked. This entire situation is emblematic of how Caitlin Clark, despite being one of the most talented players in women's basketball, continues to face a level of scrutiny that others don't. What's perhaps the most disheartening aspect of this situation is that Watkins, who was the one injured, has remained silent throughout all the controversy.
NBA history when it comes to starting guards in this league. 19 years.
The outrage isn't even coming from her. It's being fueled by people who have decided that they must defend her, even though she hasn't expressed any offense. The issue is not really about Watkins, but rather about using her injury as a weapon against Caitlin Clark, who seems to be a convenient target for some people's frustrations. This situation reflects a larger problem in women's sports, particularly within the WNBA and the basketball world. Caitlin Clark has achieved unparalleled success, and yet her every move seems to be scrutinized through a different
roughness
Many
that went
fans
beyond
and analysts
competitive
alike
basketball.
claim they want
Many
greater
of the same
attention for
people
women's
now offended
sports,
by the
but
word
when
kid
Clark
were
brings
either
that
silent
attention,
about
she
that
becomes
treatment
the
or
subject of
actively
intense,
defended it as
often
part of the game.
unfounded
The
criticism.
hypocrisy
The
is
internet's
staggering.
reaction to
What makes
Clark's
this
tweet about
situation
Watkins
even more
is a clear
frustrating
example of
is
how
that it
Clark has
distracts
become
from
a
what should be
lightning
the
rod for
focus.
criticism.
Watkins'
No matter
injury
what
and
she
recovery.
does, if Clark
Instead of
plays
uniting in
aggressively,
support
she's
of a
accused of
talented
being
athlete
arrogant.
facing
If she
adversity,
remains quiet,
these
she's
critics are
labeled as not
hijacking the
being a
narrative
leader.
to fuel
If
their
she supports a
anti-Clark
fellow
agenda.
athlete,
It's
she's deemed
disrespectful not just to
condescending. The
Clark
double
but to
standards are
Watkins as
glaring,
well.
and it's
It's
clear
worth
that
noting
some
that
people
there's
just
been no
cannot
indication
accept Clark's
whatsoever that
success or
Watkins
her
herself
place in the
took any
sport.
offense to
Moreover,
Clark's
the
message.
hypocrisy
These
here is
critics aren't
astounding.
defending
These
Watkins.
same
They're
individuals who
using her
insist on
injury as
giving women's
ammunition in their
sports more
ongoing
visibility
campaign
are
against
now
Clark.
attacking
That's
one of the
not
sport's
advocacy.
brightest stars
It's
for simply trying to be
exploitation.
kind.
This toxic
It's almost as
behavior
if Clark
creates a
can't
no-win
win. Her
situation
every
for
move
Clark.
is
If
dissected,
she hadn't
and no
said
matter
anything
how
about
much she
Watkins'
tries to do
injury,
the right
these
thing,
same
the
critics
narrative
would
is
likely have
manipulated
attacked
to
her
fit
for
a
being
certain
insensitive
agenda.
or
It's
indifferent.
also worth
When
noting
she
the
does
racial
offer
dynamics
support,
at play
they pick
here.
apart her
Caitlin
words
Clark
looking
is
for
a
any
white,
possible
straight
offense.
Midwestern
She can't win with a
athlete, and in
certain
league
segment
like
of the basketball community
where many
that seems
fans strongly
determined to
identify
vilify
with
her
black and
regardless of her
LGBTQ+
actions.
culture.
The level of
Her
scrutiny
success
Clark
has,
faces is
for some,
unprecedented.
felt like an
Every
invasion.
word she
This isn't
speaks,
Clark's
every
fault,
post
but
she
it is
makes,
her reality.
every
Her
expression
success
that
has brought
crosses her
new
face
eyes
is
to the game,
analyzed
but
and
it's also
often
made her a
deliberately
target for
misinterpreted.
those who feel
Can you
threatened
imagine
by
the
the
mental
changing
toll of
landscape
knowing
of
that
women's
even your most
basketball?
positive
At the end of the
statements
day,
will be
this isn't
twisted into
really about
weapons
Clark's
against you?
actions.
It's a burden
about
no
the fact
athlete
that
should
some
have
people
to bear.
simply don't
What's
want her to
happening to Clark
succeed.
isn't
They don't
just
want the
unfair
game
to
to
her.
evolve or
It's
attract
damaging
new
to
fans.
women's
And they
basketball as a
certainly
whole.
don't
The
want a white
WNBA is
Midwestern girl to be the
experiencing
face of women's
unprecedented growth,
basketball.
with
This
record
controversy is
viewership
just
and
another
attendance largely
manifestation of
driven
that
by the
resentment.
excitement.
the roles had been reversed and a WNBA rookie had tweeted a similar message to Clark, it likely would have been hailed as an act of mentorship or veteran leadership. But because it's Caitlin Clark, the rules are different. Every move she makes is criticized, and she's villainized at all costs. The hypocrisy is hard to ignore. Clark has done more for the visibility of women's basketball than almost anyone else in the game. She's helped bring in new fans, shattered records, and inspired countless young players. Yet, instead of celebrating her accomplishments, the internet has chosen to focus on trivialities, like a single word used in a supportive tweet. The truth is, some people simply cannot accept her success, and they will continue to find ways to tear her down. If you're tired of seeing this kind of toxicity and want more unfiltered insights into sports and the world of women's basketball, be sure to hit that subscribe button. Don't miss out on future videos that cut through the noise and bring you the truth. Subscribe now and stay tuned.